Hello class, this is the next content lesson. It's actually content 4, my mistake, I'll change that. It's books as a personal portrait. So some essential questions that we're going to look at is what is the difference between an autobiography, a biography, and a memoir, all of which can serve as portraits of specific people. We're going to review briefly about journals, diaries, and sketchbooks. We're going to discover what is the value of a personal library, what do the books you own say about you, and what is the place of books in contemporary culture. So, books about people. A biography is a book that is about a person's life, but it's written by somebody else. An autobiography is a book written about a person's life that is written by that person. A memoir is a book that is based on personal memories. It can be an event, time, a place, another person, but instead of writing about your whole life, it's just a story from your life. And over on the right, there are some examples of memoir books that are food focused, because I love food, and sort of interesting things, and they're all cultural kind of exchanges here as well. Now, personal books are informal books that are written by a person. They're usually more handwritten, and they're not intended for the public. So a diary focuses on emotions and memories and thoughts, and they tend to be more private. They tend to be written for the person, by the person, and not intended to be shared. A journal focuses on experiences, information, and processing knowledge. These can be personal notations of observations or travel, or they could also be kept for work or school to document your process of learning or document a process of work. A sketchbook is an image-based book that often focuses on creative skill and development, ideas, and processes. A personal library. A library is a collection of books. They can be formal or informal. A personal library can include books that you refer to often. Think about cookbooks, reference books, things of that nature. Books that you love and reread all the time. Books that you keep for sentimental reasons. Somebody gave you this book, or you just really liked the time period that you read the book in, not necessarily the book itself. The books that are valuable, and books that just kind of accumulate. They can include old textbooks, gifts, left behinds, things of that nature. So if you think about the art room itself, you know that I have bookcases in my office, and a lot of those are informational books about art and craft and processes and teaching and different things like that. I also have a lot of different dictionaries to look up things in, and a bunch of yearbooks. And then out in the classroom, we have a bookcase that has some textbooks on it, and a bunch of my sketchbooks, and some other art reference books. So the difference between a physical and a digital library. Physical libraries allow access to books at a specific location, regardless of technology. They have physical books there like our media center does or the county library does. Physical books, though, require care. They take up space, they get dusty, they're heavy when you have to move them, they can be damaged, but they're aesthetic. They can include illustrations and craftsmanship that you don't have included in a lot of digital copies. And then some people just really enjoy the feel of a physical book. Digital libraries can be accessed regardless of location as long as you have technology. They don't have physical restrictions. but they do require organization systems and software. Like the best example is the Kindle, that you can access, thousands of books and then download them and read them. They lack the aesthetics of physical books. A lot of times they leave out illustrations unless the illustration is mentioned directly in the text or thought to be important. They will sometimes edit out other things, but they're not quite the same. But they're still very handy, very good to have. A personal library can help with understanding a person. They can show interests and influences and document experiences that you have. And that includes some of the best things that are not the books themselves, but things that people stuff into books. So this can be notes that are written in the margins, money tucked into books, pictures, plants, other things. A lot of times if you open old books, especially large books, dictionaries, encyclopedias, they will have flowers or four-leaf clovers, or in this case a five-leaf clover, inside of them, because that was how people preserved flowers and things. You can take a flower, you usually put it between waxed paper and put it inside the book, and the weight of the book presses it flat. And then you forget about them until somebody finds them, forever ago. There is the Post-Secret book, which I'm going to talk about, Lifetime of Secrets that you see there. The concept of Post-Secret itself was started a long time ago by a guy named Frank Warren. And it was for people to anonymously send him postcards with a secret on it. It's a way to get things, off your mind, is to share your deepest, darkest secret. And then he has a website that you can look up where they publish secrets every week. And then there's also some that are collected into books. Well, the thing about the books is you can find them at all the big bookstores like Barnes & Nobles and Books A Million and Borders. A lot of times people will make a secret, and instead of mailing it, they'll stick it into a book for one of the Post-Secret books for somebody else to find. And that's really cool. I mean, I always go check them if I'm there. So books in contemporary culture, with the creepiest painting ever on the side there. Physical books still outsell digital books. There is an aesthetic of the physical and social status aspect of displaying physical books. It shows that you have possessions, that you have wealth, that you have knowledge. And the importance is influenced by it being physical. So everybody could self-publish a book. You could go home, write a book, and, publish it on the internet, and that's fine. But in order to get a book printed, you need to have greater resources and greater vetting of the book, editors, and things of that nature. So people tend to take printed books a little more seriously. Digital books are important, though. They dramatically decrease educational costs. They're accessible without physical bulk, and they offer a larger variety of material. I remember when I first went to college, and this is like 1981, and buying college textbooks even back then cost hundreds of dollars for one book. So they were extremely expensive. A lot of that, there are now digital versions of the book, so you don't have nearly as much expense. So your assignment is to create a self-portrait that includes books. You're not making it out of books, you're just including books in it. So you need your Chromebook. You could use your cell phone camera or the Chromebook camera. Or you could use traditional drawing materials if you prefer to draw it instead of take an actual picture. And so books are often included in self-portraits and in general portraits as a way of communicating that the person is literate, they know how to read and write, and they're intelligent. And they highlight that aspect of a personality. So you're going to create a self-portrait of you with books. You can take a photograph, you could do a digital collage, you could draw it, but think carefully about what books you include. Are you showing off a library of books? Or are you showcasing one or two of your favorites? A historical example of this is this medieval illustration over there on the right. And what you're seeing here is both of the women are carrying books. And this is an Annunciation picture. So it's Mary and Elizabeth from the Bible. But the books were carried as status symbols. They were called girdle books. So you would actually, you can see she has the book in, it's kind of a sash that's attached to it so that you could actually tie it around your waist so you always have your book with you. And people would assume certain things about you even if they just saw the book there as part of your outfit. So you're going to turn it in. You're going to upload it to Google Classroom. This is not a self-portrait. This is a portrait with a book. This is my mother reading at a picnic. She loved books. She always carried them around with her because she was never bored if she had a book. And she kept lists and usually read over 100 books a year, all throughout her life. So this picture dates from the 1970s. And she's reading, I can't make out the whole title. The top word looks, I'm not even sure what the top word is. Helped, which is a Dutch word. It means help. But not sure about the rest of it. But anyway, there's a portrait with books. And my mom.